Ron Rosen in the morning. WRJN.
And say good morning to Denise Lockwood, owner, founder. She also cleans up the place at night of Racine County. I always found that the owners always have to do all the mundane things. Let's lower this
Chief
mic.
cook and bottle washer. That's what my dad would say.
Hold that face there. I want to see your face.
There you go. Oh, there you go.
Okay, you're shorter than I thought.
Yeah, chief cook and bottle washer. That's me.
Yeah, you got to do everything when you're the owner.
I know. Yes.
When I was program director here for years, one of the managers, I was doing everything. I was, opening gates for people, for the guy mowing our lawn. I was, getting him taking out the trash.
It's good work. It's way better than shoveling manure at the Lockwood Black Walnut Farm in Worcester, Ohio. So
that's right.
Hey.
Is this farm still there?
The farm is still there, although my mom and dad sold it this past September. About a year ago, this year, we were shoveling out all of the stuff, and we were cleaning out all of the trinkets and baubles, and then Ma and Pa moved to Florida.
Ma and Pa. Now, do you feel like, have you gone back there since?
I'm going in 2 weeks,
Okay.
but I have been back there, yes.
Do you feel like you still have the right to walk on that property?
No.
Now, you don't have the right, but do you feel like you still have the right?
I don't.
For my wife's, one of her birthdays, I went back. I'm not from here. She's from Union Grove, though. And I went back to the house she grew up in. I knew where it was. And I knocked on the door, and I said, I am on the level. I wanted my wife to take a tour of the house to see the house she grew up in. Here were photographs of her in front of the house when she was a little kid. Aww. And I was going to get the police chief to help me get in there and all that stuff. The guy said, "Oh no, come on in." And he said, "When do you want to come in?"
Union Grove, though.
And I said, "Well, it's this. He just bought the house." And he said, "Yeah, she can come over this weekend. Yeah, just come on over." And he said, "Bring more pictures. I'd love to see what this place looked like back, 1,000 years ago." So anyway, went in there. It was very nice. And I went back to her second place, and the guy said, "Sure," but he wasn't there when we went there. But yeah, the guy just let us come in, and she told stories of how this became this and that became that. And it was kind of interesting, but some people won't let you in.
When I was little, growing up in Worcester, Ohio, the thriving metropolis, I had that. So my parents were like working and whatnot, and my sisters and I were home. And this lady came to our door and said the same thing. And so I've been able to go full circle. But I have my friend Ron Kurtz, who still lives on the old Fox Lake Road. It actually works across the street from my parents' old house. He sends me pictures now. They took down the fence, Denise. They did this, Denise. They took down the big tree. So I've been having this running documentary of what happened to the house.
Well, I have never gone back to the house that I grew up in. Oh, we went back to visit the house in the Bronx where I grew and where I started. We went there, but the house in Massapequa, I didn't,
It was okay.
I don't know anybody in the neighborhood. Everybody's dead who was in the neighborhood, so they're all new people, and I don't know who they are, so I don't bother going back.
But it's fun, For me, that particular house, and I grew up in a couple of different places prior to that, but that particular place had my heart and soul. I ate a lot of dirt there, right? I learned to barrel race. I learned to show pigs. I just ate a lot of dirt in that house. It was where I got my chops of actually entrepreneurship, because my dad taught us how to buy more animals, and so we had a little animal purchasing plan with my dad, because he sat us down. I said, I want to buy a horse when I was 11 years old. He's like, okay, let me show you how to budget, right? So, it was those kind of things that really made me who I am. And so it's a very special place for me.
So now his daughter is a crime-busting reporter.
He would not say that.
For Racine County Eye. How are things going at Racine County Eye? Good?
Fabulous.
Now,
fabulous.
You got new offices.
I am so excited. Excited.
Where is it? Where are the offices?
So, the old Horlick malted milk factory right across the street from Sacred Heart.
Yeah, there's coffee shops there and everything now.
Yeah, in fact, we're going to be right next to the coffee shop, the Inclusive Bean. The address is 1926. I can say that officially because I signed the lease. It's a little on the scary side, but we're fine. We're fine. So we're going to have half of the second floor there's the space is really interesting. This is the old machine shop. And I love walking back in there, and you just feel the energy of the time period of which that was built. There's cobblestones. The buildings are big and old, but they've all been rehabbed. And Bell City Square is what it's called now. But we have that lease, and basically half of the space is going to be. It's a very large space for our tiny little newsroom. So it's about 1,900 square feet, and half of it is going to be our newsroom. The other half is going to be called the Thought Collective, and we are going to host a lot of thought leadership projects around there, a lot of events that we're going to do some live podcasting. I really want to bring people together that can meet newsmakers, right? So we put out a lot of energy into writing news. And I thought, you know what? Why am I in the way? Why don't we get these folks together and really solve some of these issues that we have so that we can have better policy making and a better community? And that's really what I think the soul of Racine and Racine County needs right now.
So high school sports, huge. We have high
Yes.
school sports on here. Dick Graceffa does our basketball and football. You're branching out to do a whole high school sports section now on
Correct.
Racine County. So why don't you talk about that?
So exciting about that as well. So our good friend Matt Hardesty, he is kind of spearheading that, and he was with the Journal Times, and he came over to Racine County I also have Nick Payne Jr. and Rob Lure, who used to also be with the JT. He was doing some on again, like he does some special projects. He's not like going to be consistent, but he's consistently going to be covering golf. So I'm super jacked about that because nobody else on the face of the earth wants me writing about sports because I, as my husband likes to remind me, root for the wrong team.
You do?
I do sometimes. I'm horrible.
So what I have to do is go to the betting tables in Vegas, the sports bet, find out who you think is going to win, and bet the other team.
There you go. There you go.
And I'll make a fortune.
No, sports writing is a very different type of journalism. And so there's a nuance to it that I do not own. And I own that part of me.
But you had to find someone who did own it.
Right, right.
And that's all you got to do, find the right people. You don't have
Exactly.
to do everything yourself. It's just find the right people to do it. We're very lucky here to have Mike Clemens, who lives and breathes sports. And he's got ins with the Packers and the Brewers and the Badgers, where he can get in there.
Right.
He knows the coaches. He knows the managers. So he's in on all these things. So he gets
Well,
right up
somebody
front.
should
Yeah.
be because Denise isn't going to do it. I can
Well,
tell you
me
that.
neither. My mother wouldn't let
Right.
me play high school sports. She goes, I don't want you getting hurt. And they wanted me to play basketball in high school because I was, 6'4", 6 whatever. And my mother said, no, I don't want you getting hurt. You're not going to play. So I played a league that was under the lights, a summer league. I didn't play in high school. And Mr. Sweeney, who was our gym teacher and basketball coach, said, what do you mean your mother said no? I said, my mother said no. They want me getting hurt.
Oh no! Did you agree with that mother decision?
Yeah, I didn't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
It was after school. I had other things I wanted to do. I was in the drama club.
Oh,
And
I was too.
But I couldn't
And
act,
speech-
so I was the stage manager.
I was in speech and debate. I also did choir and drama.
See, I couldn't be debating because I'd say, hey, stupid. What a dumb opinion that is. That's my
That was
debate.
kind of frowned upon.
Belittling the other person next to
No,
you.
it taught you how to listen and really think critically, not only of what other people say, but what you're saying as well. And so being able to take that in is one of the reasons I can do the things that I do, right?
See, I would say, I'd get up there and say, my opponent's an idiot. Here's the truth.
No, but
That's what I would do, and that's why I wouldn't be good at it.
that would be right.
So what the sports, and now Racine County I is at racinecountyeye.com. That's Racine, spell out the word county, E-Y-E. With everything I these days, iPhone, iTech, you got to remember it's actually spelled out, E-Y-E.com. You can find everything, the sports, everything, the news, everything's right there.
It's true.
I know because I have it bookmarked on my phone.
I love this for us. I'm so happy.
I got a bookmark.
I love, you know what I love about what's going on in media is that collaboration. And that's the juice that we really need, especially since, this is a hard business, Don Rosen. It's darn hard to do this work. And so being able to collaborate with you guys and with TMJ4 and WGTD, all of that helps elevate the work that we're doing. And I'm so grateful that we have the capacity to be
and
on.
Stuart, when he does the news, he doesn't have 20 minutes to describe a story. He's got a few seconds. He'll give you the news headlines, and he always says, for a more in-depth look, go to Racine County.
I have more real estate.
Because you guys have all the time in the world, because it's online, where he doesn't have it. He's got a few seconds because we got to get back to playing the Rolling Stones. We don't have time for
I know, but details matter, too. But I want to go back to some of the other things that we're going to have. So just to kind of give a little flavor of some of the events that we're having, we're actually going to be doing a whole series called Made in Racine. And it's all going to be about elevating historical stories about things and people that were made in Racine. And we're going to be doing some live podcasting. The first one is called Haunted Racine. In November is Makers and Mavericks. And in December, we're hosting a podcast called A Very Racine Holiday.
We had a guest on our show, Rory Graves.
I just heard about
who
her.
wrote the book Haunted Racine. And if you go to our lobby, you'll see the first place award from the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association. It was my interview with Rory Graves.
Really?
And we won first place in the entire state of Wisconsin.
See, I
with
literally
Rory
just heard
Graves.
about her just yesterday through a friend, and I asked my one of my reporters, Cheyenne Lenciani, to reach out to Rory. So, Rory, if you're listening, contact us.
Yeah, the story she could tell you, they were all in the book.
Right.
But I asked her to pick out some of the, best scary ones. My skin was, crawling listening to these stories.
Did she tell you about Brosman's Bar?
No, she didn't tell me that. She told me.
Maybe you'll have to have us on in October.
She told me the story. Will.
Hey.
The story she told, it's two of them. One was about on Main Street, the, I forget what it's like. One of the fraternal organizations owns the
Masonic Temple.
Masonic Temple.
Actually, Wendy Spencer is going to be at our Haunted Racine podcast.
Yeah. And
So we're featuring her and Ron Helmick.
And she told this, Ron Helmick, he's been in here before. He came with a little ghost thing to see if there's any spirits in the building. He did.
Did he find any?
It was like a little Ghostbusters thing.
I know.
Well, he was in a cast with his leg, and he couldn't go to our basement where it probably would have been.
Okay.
And I didn't want him going down the steps with that cast on his leg because he'd be the next spirit haunting the building.
Yeah, don't do that.
So anyway, she told a story about, it's the cover of the book, about a school. It's right, I guess, on 14th Street where Ascension is
Are
there.
you talking about Taylor Home?
No, not Taylor Home. Not Taylor Home. There's another school there. And I guess kids were digging there. And back in the 1800s, there were bodies buried there.
Oh.
And they found the bones.
Ooh.
Yes. She told some great stories. And I could have gone 2 hours with her. We brought her back twice because they were so good. So we'll bring her back this October again. Rory Graves.
That
What a
sounds
great
fun.
name.
I know.
Rory Graves.
How do you plan
that? And she comes in, and I had the book, and I'm like, shaking listening. Because I don't know, I guess it's
Haunted
true.
stories are so much fun to tell, especially from a journalistic standpoint, because you're like, people are sometimes skeptics, but we just love the story, right? So it's up to you on what you believe and don't believe, but at the end of the day, it's a fun story.
Well, the interview was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, she told that the people who judge the awards for the state of Wisconsin, that's first place.
That's amazing.
And so we won it with Rory Graves, best
Hey.
interview in the state of Wisconsin.
I love this.
She was good. I mean, she had me scared because she knows how to tell a story.
Right?
I mean, yeah, you got to get a hold of Rory Graves.
Here's another one is The Beast of Bray Road. There is, check that one out. There's the author, and I met her, the woman that wrote it, and I can't remember her name to save my life right now. She used to be the librarian for one of the West End schools. I want to say Dover School, Kansasville School, right? That's the one. And so she had written she was a journalist and she was bored one day, which sometimes we were out west of the eye, right? And she started digging through the DNR files, the Department of Natural Resource files, and found this whole file of this beast that they kept getting calls on. The DNR had a whole file.
The
Beast of Brayro.
You know, you
Right.
mentioned Made in Racine.
Right.
So we're out in Murdo, South Dakota. You ever hear of it?
Nope.
No. Okay. I didn't think it did. Nobody ever heard of Murdo, but it's on the interstate on our way to Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
So we stop in Murdo because there is an auto museum there. Their big claim to fame is they have Elvis's motorcycle. So we stop by because, you know, we could do something. You know, it's a nice trip. The person who works there also has people that work at Ascension in Racine. So there's a tie right there. So we're walking through, and it's just acres and acres and acres of old cars. But they're antique cars, and they're in good condition.
Yeah.
One barn after another. And after that, I said, I can't see anymore. I mean, so we come across the last barn, and there it is, the J.I. Case car.
Oh,
It looks like a Model T. I can't tell
Right,
the difference.
right.
But it's a J.I. Case car, and everything there is for
How
sale.
fun is that?
Yeah, everything.
Right?
So here I am in Murdo, South Dakota, and I see the J.I. Case car manufactured in Racine.
That is fun. That is fun. Does it like when you feel that connection? What does that do for you? Like,
Yeah, it does. It does. I said,
it gives you a lot of civic pride.
well, I told the
Right.
people back, I said, you know, that car is made from where I come from, Racine. And the guy was telling, well, I got a relative works in Racine.
That's fun.
I mean, so there's in Murdo, South Dakota. I mean, that's in the middle of nowhere. So,
well, we at one point were the middle of nowhere.
no, this is really the middle of nowhere. And I don't think it's ever going to be anything but the middle of nowhere, Murdo, South Dakota.
Okay.
If you look at a map, there's one named Murdo and nothing for pages and pages in your atlas
Wow.
to go see. But it was, when I came across that, I said, and now do you sell it? He says, everything here is for sale for the right price. So I would love to see, I don't know if now, the museum here, the Racine Heritage Museum, has one of the Mitchell cars there, I think.
Right.
They should get their hands on this J.I. Case car. It looks in great condition.
All right, Chris Paulson from Heritage Museum. There you go. There's
Now,
your in.
I hope it's still there in Murdo, South Dakota. It's one of the barns, and they have all these cars. It just looks like a Model T. I can't tell the difference. I'm sure there's a difference. Okay, I got a few more minutes left. Give us a quick rundown of some of the other things going on.
Oh boy. So we're actually planning a whole series of stories around artificial intelligence. Basically, what I want to start focusing on is culturally and from a work standpoint and from a business standpoint, what does this mean to Racine's economy, right? So we've got Microsoft, we've got a second data center that may or may not be affiliated with Microsoft that's been proposed in Caledonia. So what is this AI thing and what does it mean to us? Because it is a very, from my understanding, dramatic change to how we do what we do, how we live our lives. And also, I want to look at it through the lens of education. So the question I want to know is as a parent or grandparent watching your children do their homework, should they be using AI?
Well,
right?
and how do the teachers tell?
Exactly.
You know, when I was a kid, you copied out of the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah.
And the teacher knew it because she knew what was written in
Right.
the Encyclopedia Britannica. So we copied out of there. Today, you've got AI, and you can tell AI, change the wording.
Right.
How do you know? How can you tell the
and
difference?
I think there's a lot of big questions, but also when you're finding work, the type of work is changing, right? And I'm really sensitive to this specifically in Racine because 1 out of 5 people of working age in Racine doesn't have a GED. And so the pivot to different types of work is going to be substantive. And from a trend standpoint, I'm really keyed into like Department of Workforce, the data, the nerdy side of this. I really want to keep on top of so that I can help the community pivot, adapt, figure it out, be that place where people can figure things out. So that's what I'm planning.
You know, kudos to you. You started from nothing
I
in Racine
know.
County. And, you know, it's difficult to take on the other major news source in town, meaning the newspaper, but I think you got it at the right time.
It's
you
been
you
13
couldn't-
years in the making, friend.
Yeah, you couldn't have done this 20 some odd years ago because the
No.
Journal Times is so huge.
Right.
And newspapers today, I hate to say it because I still love newspapers.
I do too.
They're on the decline.
It's a hard business, especially. I think one of the things that really stuck with me when I was starting my career in journalism, I actually did a story that has zero to do with journalism and everything to do with the business that I'm in. So I did a story on agricultural sustainability. And as I was watching a lot of our neighbors' family farms disappear, and I did a story on an ag economist that was giving a speech at the Ohio Agricultural Research and Development Center. And he said, "Do you know why we don't have buggy whips? Or buggy whip manufacturing?" And it's not because they weren't good at making buggy whips. It's because the companies failed to understand the industry they were in.
Right.
And that stuck with me. That was the weirdest thing. It was like very telling. And that always stuck with me as a business owner.
Well,
that you need to pivot.
I keep this here.
Right.
These are carts. It's a radio thing. All the music, all the commercials used to be on these in the 50s and 60s. They're no longer used anymore because it's got
Right.
tape in it. This is archaic. Nobody touches this anymore. But I keep 5 of them right here to remind me where I came from.
You know, that's funny you say that because when I was a little Denise, my grandpa and I had we had Mod Podged these mastheads of these newspapers from 1973 onto these just cheap little pieces of board. And I have them hanging in my office. And I look at them frequently because most of those newspapers are gone. It's not that newspapers are bad. It has zero to do with that. It's that we've changed how we consume news.
Oh, yeah.
right?
And I go with the flow. This is all computerized. I mean, I go with the flow. It wasn't like this when I started way
But
back.
we have to
in,
go
you know,
with the flow very quickly on this AI stuff because it's very, very hyper disruptive. But also, there's a lot of opportunity that if you've got a mindset of pivot, you can ride like have an entirely different life because you knew what was coming.
Denise Lockwood, founder, Racine County Eye. So much coming up. Follow RacineCountyEye.com. Spell out the words Racine County and EYE.com. If you missed any of this little chat we were having here, it's going to be podcast tomorrow morning. So you can listen to WRJN.com or wherever you get your podcasts. It's going to be everywhere. Thank you, Denise. Always fun having
Always
you here.
so fun.
Do you want me to get some bail money so when you go back to your farm? Do you want us to start a collection now so when you go on
No,
the
I
property?
don't have to because I have Ron Kurtz who works at the John Deere dealership across
Okay.
the street. He's fine.
Oh, he's going to bail you out?
Yes, he'll bail me out. He'll bail me out. I promise.
Thank you, Denise.
All right,
Always
take care.
fun having you. Got to have you here more often. Always fun talking.